Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world heavyweight champion, 2-time Hall of Fame. I got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. They call him the GOAT. Make sure you guys get that. Put that in parentheses. But yes, man, how you doing, dog?
I'm good, Book. I'm good. You know, we have a great weekend of action coming up. We got fights in all three of our favorite sports, including sports and entertainment. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the weekend because we had all those downpours this week, and now it looks like it's finally moved past us. We can settle in and we can get ready for the week.
Yeah, man, it's been a rough week. It's definitely been a rough week. Losing a good friend of mine, Road Warrior Animal. Joe Leonard. He's awesome. He was an awesome dude, man. He always was there for me. He always, I call him for reality of wrestling. Boom, he's there. You don't want to help me train, man. Yeah, man, I got that, man. And then to be so enthused about working with the young guys, man. That's what I remember about Animal more than anything. It was nothing in the ring. That's what's ironic. It's nothing in the ring. And so many guys, of course, tell their story about Animal, and there's always a match or something like that. But for me, it was how he felt about working with young people, man. And I love Road Warrior Animal, man. There again, we didn't get a chance to mix it up inside the squared circle. Harlem Heat versus the Road Warriors like we really wanted to, but I just want to say, man, condolences to the family. You're going to be well missed. You're going to be remembered forever. And brother, I'll see you again. Yeah. But
yeah, I just if I can real quick, when Animal did come down to Reality Wrestling that one time, super hyped to meet him. I was a Legion of Doom fan, right?
Yeah,
when they weren't the Road Warriors, they're the Legion of Doom in WWE. Got to meet him. He was such an awesome guy, and I remember driving him after the show. We went back to the airport together, and I drove him over there. And he got out of the car, grabbed his bag, started to walk into the terminal, stopped, turned around, and said, "Hey, kid, take my number down. If you ever need anything, just give me a call. I'm always here for you," right? And I just met this guy for the day. We hung out for a couple hours and got to know each other. But that just shows you exactly who he was. He wanted to see this business continue, and he wanted to bestow anything that he could on the young talent. Even though I wasn't a wrestler, anything that he could do to help, he was there for me. And I just met the guy. So I think that shows you exactly who he is. There's definitely a Road Warrior pop 88 in the sky right now for him and Hawk.
Those guys did it better than anybody, man. That's why I always say people can, they ask me, who's the greatest tag team of all time? I always, talk about, Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express. But the guys that changed the whole name of the game was the Road Warriors. As far as selling action figures, that's who you want to be like. You want to try to go find some spikes.
Yeah, shoulder pads and face paint were aplenty.
Cheers, man. But they did it, and they did it better than anyone. But definitely a sudden loss to the business. I know so many is mourning right now, and I just want to say I'm mourning with you because I wasn't just a fan; I was a good friend, and I was a fan at the same time. So definitely he will be well missed. But we got to move on. Also, I got to give respects to Gail Sayers, another one, my childhood hero. I grew up having three idols, Sammy Davis Jr., Muhammad Ali, and Gail Sayers. Those were the only three people I think I've ever wanted to meet in my life. And God rest his soul, Sammy Davis Jr., he passed away. And I never got a chance to meet him before he passed away. Muhammad Ali, of course he's passed away. And I didn't get a chance to, just be around Muhammad Ali or just watch him. I got a chance to, be around him in his hotel room, and that was like the biggest honor in my life to meet the champ, Muhammad Ali. And then Gail Sayers, another hero of mine, just so happened he was being honored and in my wife's hometown, and and I was being honored as well the same night. And I looked across the room and I go, I just thought his name was on the list. I didn't think he was going to be there. Literally, seriously, I swear to God. And we're in this room in Gary, Indiana, nice size room. And I look across the room, like literally like a light was shining down on him. And I look at Charmel and I go, that's Gail Sayers. And literally like a little kid, I go, that's Gail Sayers. And then she goes, that's Gail Sayers. She said, who's Gail Sayers? I say, that's Gail Sayers. She said, you want to meet him? And me and Gail Sayers, I have a photo of Gail Sayers in my living room. Him and I, cheek to cheek, arm to arm, hand to hand. And he's gone. And I just want to say, he had a great life. He was one of the greatest runners that ever touched that football, that pigskin. He was one of the best to ever do it. Only had like 5 years, but the youngest player to ever go in the NFL Hall of Fame.
Wow.
At 34 years old. Unbelievable. That's Gail Sayers. Not too many people ever going to live up to something like that. Seriously.
That's incredible. I didn't know that he was the youngest person to ever go into the Hall of Fame. And, I was funny. I was talking to somebody today about Gail Sayers. And as I think that you have to, even though he's obviously a generation before me, right? He is one of those names that has to always be brought up in greatest running backs of all time, right? You have to mention his name. He's just one of those have to get to. When you talk about the greatest rappers of all time, you have to mention Pac and Biggie. Even if they were before your generation, you have to bring them up. I think Sayers is one of those guys that you have to bring up when you talk about that possession, because I know, talking from people earlier today who were around to witness the true greatness of Gail Sayers, everybody had a Chicago Bears jersey on. It didn't matter what city you were from. I wanted to be like Gail Sayers.
Nah, man. If you was a kid growing up in the hood and you knew anything about the ghost, the greatness of Gail Sayers, and you watched him run, you go, wow, man, that was something awesome, something special. Definitely another warrior that's going to be missed. And there again, condolences to the family. He will be well missed. And there again, I'll see him again one day. That's one thing about this life, man. We all got a birth date and all got a death date. It's what we do in between is what really, really matter, man. But we got, boxing, man. Boxing's going to be live and in living color going down this weekend, double header. The Charlo brothers will be defending championships, man. And only thing I hate most about this thing is, we're not going to be able to be there.
I know.
But there again, man, it's going to be an awesome double hitter. The fans are going to love the action. Darian Chinko, he's no pushover. Rosario, he's no pushover. The question is, who's going to walk out and still champion, perhaps? Will this be the toughest bout for the Charlos thus far in their tenure in the professional boxing ranks in the world of pugilism? We're going to find out. It's going to be good. I'm ready, man. I'm hyped.
I know, man. You seem a little extra right now. Like you're turned all the way up to see some boxing, and it's great. I wish we were at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. I wish that you and I could go to B1. These are a lot of things that I wish on my heart, I wish on my soul. But to be able to see boxing and they had these two epic fights in one night on one card, two fight cards for the price of one. You can't beat it. $75. Showtime boxing, Showtime pay-per-view, baby. I am excited. And you know what? I'm a homer. I root for the Rockets. I root for the Astros. I root for the Texans. I rooted for Booker T when I was a kid. Yeah. I got to root for my guys, the Charlo brothers, H-Town's own. I got to represent. So I'm excited to see these two fight. Yeah. And I'm excited to hear the insight from a certain promoter who knows a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah, man. Leonard Ellerbe, the man behind all the magic. We got to get a word from Leonard. He's going to be stepping inside the Hall of Fame to give his take, his insight as far as what's going to go down with the Charlo brothers. And me personally, I got to ask him about what's going on with Javante Tank Davis getting ready to go into an epic bout with Leo Santa Cruz. I think that guy there, man, he's like a windmill. He never stops stops punching. So definitely that's going to be a great fight coming up next month. But we got to talk about this weekend. So guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame.
Before we throw in the break, before we even throw in the break, we're going to be back with the Hall of Fame. We got to talk about if we were going to be in Vegas, you know what we'd be? We'd be masked up. We'd be ready to go. We'd have our Boomer Naturals.
Hey, we're all wearing masks these days, but not all masks are made equally, especially when it comes to comfort and protection. I recommend the Boomer Naturals. It's 3-layer, comfortable, and highly breathable mask. It comes in sizes for adults, teens, and children. And speaking of kids, if yours are heading back to school, why would you want to make sure they protect?
You're absolutely right, Booker. The Boomer Natural masks are protected with nano silver technology that's woven right into the fabric. Nano silver can block those tiny drops and particles from getting into your nose and mouth. That gives you an added layer of protection. Boomer also offers the popular nano silver neck gaiters. That's a mask that'll cover up your whole face. And another great thing is Boomer donates one face cover for every order to nonprofits and charities. Now, you ready for this? Here's the big news.
What's the big news?
Boomer Natural masks are now available in CVS stores.
And of course, guys, you can order now at boomernaturals.com. Use that promo code Booker and save 20%. That code Booker at boomernaturals.com. Hey, guys, get free shipping and handling when you spend at least $50 online at boomernaturals.com. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. Just sitting here doodling. You know, when you doodle, sometimes you always, I step off a little bit.
Didn't you like contribute? I know you have the G.I. Bro comic books, but didn't you like draw something for a comic book recently? Or
not too long ago, for a buddy of mine, I did a little sketch, and it was something that I hadn't did in many, many years, man. But I had such a fun time trying to recreate the magic, going back in time. And because that's what I used to love to do all the time as a kid was sketch, doodle. I mean, especially stuff like the Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man. Those were my two favorite back in the day. Silver Surfer was another one I used to like to draw a whole lot, So, but yeah, but I tell you, my daughter, she's picked it up now, man. She is just as good as I am, or maybe even better, as far as shades and stuff like that. So it's definitely something you get caught up in. But back to the action. Excuse me. Clash going down this weekend, guys. Clash of Champions going down this weekend. We're going to be in the bubble. So I'm looking forward to getting out of here and getting to Florida and making the magic happen and seeing exactly how that whole thing play out, man. A whole lot of people right now is, excited. Wrestling is excited. It's got a lot of excitement, a buzz again, especially because of the wars. The wars totally gives it. I don't know what it is. That punch, I guess. That because everybody want to see who's gonna win. Right?
Right.
But the thing is, I say it's at the end of the day, the fans win. Because they're going to get a whole lot of great action, more importantly than anything. They're going to get some great content more than anything. And just to second that, reality of wrestling is back, in action as well. So we got some stuff in the can. We did some stuff last night that we're going to be putting out here real soon. And guys, trust me, you're not going to want to miss out. You're not going to get shut out on watching some reality of wrestling. If you haven't downloaded the YouTube app, guys, be a part of the row and let's get to our destination. And that is to be the best, little small company here, in Texas City. But we work real hard for our artists. But back to the Clash. Are you excited, man? Are you excited about the Clash?
You know what? I am excited because not only is it, the old school Night of Champions where all the titles are on the line. I always enjoy that. But when you look at the matches on paper, you have all the potential of having incredible night of action from the pre-show all the way into the main event. I mean, we're going to open up with Asuka versus Zelina Vega. Now, we haven't seen a whole lot of Zelina Vega inside the squared circle, but when we have, I've been impressed by her. She definitely has a presence. She's good on the mic. She's a good character. And in there was somebody who can work. And I mean, has her working boots on every night like Asuka. I think that could really set the tone and set the bar for the night.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely can. No, it can set the tone. I don't think it's going to set the bar. The bar is going to be very, very high on that night because, like you say, it is the night of champions. Every title will be defended inside the square circle. I always love those nights, especially when I was coming up. But Asuka has
the belt.
Yeah, but Asuka has proven that she is. She's an extraordinary talent. She is special. I mean, you could tell someone when they're seasoned, when they get in the ring and perform. I was just talking about one of my guys just last night, Abel Andrew Jackson made a return. And I say, man, if Abel knew what he know now 15 years ago, he would have been a big star in WWE or anywhere in the world. And that's what I see when I watch Asuka. She can go out and perform. If you work with her, she can perform with anyone in the business. Now, Zelina Vega, there again, we don't know a whole lot about her. But like you say, the little that we've seen has been somewhat impressive. But I see a quote here, Booker, I dig the beer. Hey, man, I didn't get a chance to wash it today right now. It just calmed out. I hadn't put any of the fragrances or the juices in it or anything like that. But trust me, come Sunday, it's going to look like it's sweating, baby. It's going to be looking real good. Trust me, man, on that. But I appreciate it. But back to the match. I'm like, what, man? I'm looking for it.
Wedding?
Because it's going to have a shine in the gloss, man. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? It's going to have a shine in the gloss all over it, man. So definitely, man, check me out on Sunday after kickoff, man. Looking forward to there again.
All right, let me ask you this, though. So we have another match on here, U.S. title, Bobby Lashley, Apollo Crews. We've seen these guys a lot over the last couple months. And I don't know. I love the Hurt Business. The Hurt Business is one of the best things going on Monday Night Raw, maybe in all of WWE. I don't know. I think I'm a little bit over the Apollo Crews.
I'm not.
You're not? I want to see something else. Let's move on. I feel like I've seen this match a million times.
No, we can't move on.
Why?
Yeah, because we got to beat some sense into this man. That's why. And until he realize and jump on board, we're going to keep beating on him. We're going to keep beating on him. We're going to beat some sense into this man. And that's what I think the Hurt Business is all about. They're going to beat some sense into him. Anybody else that's not on the fence, Ricochet, they're going to beat some sense into him. Before it's over with, the Hurt Business is going to be, a faction that's going to perhaps go down in the history of the business, I think, because especially if you get a guy in there like Ricochet, who can really be honed and molded into something very, very special. This guy, I'm going to tell you right now, back in the day, we're talking about Ricochet, but back in the day when I used to dance, I was probably about 18, 19, about 18, 19 at this time. And we had this little kid came in, his name was Lonnie Brown. And Lonnie Brown, man, that cute little kid, man. He had dimples. All the girls loved him. No, I'm serious. But this little kid could go. I mean, he was literally better than all of us. His everything about this kid was special. And I only would, wonder what Lonnie Brown turned out to be. And then if he had someone to mold him, what would he have turned out to be? Because he was extraordinary. And that's what Ricochet is. Ricochet is a talent that, really is so well above, the things that he really, it's kind of hard to know how to put, man.
Right.
The guy he's so well past, a lot of the roster. He's so far advanced as far as being able to go out there and do certain things that the roster. I was watching on YouTube just the other day where somebody asked him, some question, I could do anything better than you can. And Ricochet was in the middle of the ring He jumped over the top rope and landed, boom, like one of the superheroes, and then stood up and walked to the guy and go, "Oh yeah." And I go, "Wow." It was amazing. I had never seen anything like that before. So to be able to get a guy like Ricochet in the Hurt business and put some stank on him, you know what I mean? I think he's a brother. And if not, we can make him into one. You know, so that's my thing. That's what the Hurt business is really all about. So beat up Apollo Crews, because there again, he's another guy that's got a whole lot of talent. I see a tag team brewing, you know, between, you know, Apollo Crews and someone that could take over the whole tag team division, Raw or SmackDown. I'm not going to even say which two it is, but it's a whole lot of money to be made, especially if I was on the booking committee. But that's another story.
Let me ask you this before we get into the break. You mentioned something. I just want to get your reaction to it. You said that Apollo Crews could be in a tag team that could take over Raw or SmackDown. Should they combine those titles? Should they unify them? I don't feel like there's enough tag teams to go around to have two sets of titles. You only have one set of women's. Why two sets of men's? You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? That's a good idea. That way you can defend on both shows. That way, you know, your bank account is going to go up. You know, your downside, you know, you got to meet that downside. So it's a lot of upside to combining it into one from my perspective. So as well as to be able to bounce around from both shows, to, you know, and it wouldn't be like I'm coming to this show to make these guys look bad or anything. I'm going to that show it wouldn't be about that. It will be only about defending the tag team championship, and where are the best tag teams, wherever they are. That's where we're going to go on that night. So I love it. I love the idea. Yeah,
I think it's just something that needs to happen. We don't need two sets of tag titles. And you know, I mean, personally, I don't think we need a universal at WWE, but I get why. There's that one. There's a lot of guys on top who could, you know, bounce between those main event spots. But as far as the tag titles go, you know, unification, not a bad idea. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, that's what we do at Reality of Wrestling, man. You know, we try to come up with, a scheme, a game plan. And then we try to go out there and execute that game plan. And if you do that, man, 9 times out of 10, you might come up a winner if you do it right. But I know we got to take a quick break here, man. But guys, we got a surprise for some of you guys. We got a surprise anyway. Alexa Bliss will be stepping up inside the Hall of Fame just to get a little piece of the action. Champagne wishes, caviar dreams, as well promote her new podcast, Uncool. Guys, stick around. We'll be back in a minute.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer, and this is for all up-and-coming professional wrestlers, male and female. You want to know the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. You got a question, I got the answer. If you want to know how, join my masterclass. Go to realityofwrestling.com for all of the information, starting on Thursday and every Thursday after that, guys. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. And I know you can dig that.
The Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. 6-time world champ Booker T, along with Brad Gilmore. We're just skimming through, what's going on out there. What's in the new? And there again, Alexa Bliss, man. What do you think about her, first and foremost?
Well, as far as her as a talent, she's tremendous talent. Great in-ring competitor. Raw SmackDown Women's Champion. I think that she could do a lot in that atmosphere. And you know what? Listen to the podcast. Podcast is pretty good. I'm a fan of the podcast. You know, she's a little, maybe a little off.
You know, but what I like about the podcast though is she's trying to veer a different way other than just professional wrestling. And that's what I try. That's what I want to do more than anything. Wrestling is a tool. Wrestling is something that could get you to a certain place. And then you try to parlay that success into whatever you want to make it. And that's what I stress to these young guys more than anything. You know, if you find something you're really good at, you massage it, you make it the best that you possibly can. And then you ask somebody, somebody's going to ask you, man, how can I get that? And you tell them $99.99. It's that simple. And I can ship you one. It's that simple. And then it goes on. It goes on. You never have to worry about a check in the mail when you do something good. More importantly, seriously, man. But yeah, seriously. Yeah. Back to
the Clash.
Yeah. That's what. Hey, man, don't try to talk over me like that.
No, I was saying it at the same time.
I'm just saying it's like my twin or something. I'm like, well, what's going on here? Back to the Clash, man. What intrigues you most about that night? I mean, we know the Hurt Business is going to do what they do, but what intrigues you most about, the Clash?
I'll tell you, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. Jeff Hardy, no matter how long he's in the business, he's always going to find a ladder. And every time he finds it, he does something spectacular. And maybe it takes a couple matches off his career, maybe a couple bumps on the bump card are used in those ladder matches, but he always does it incredibly. I mean, think about the iconic moments. We can go all the way back to WrestleMania 2000, where he does the swanton off a 20-foot ladder through Bubba Ray Dudley, laying below in the Anaheim Pond. You can go all the way to WrestleMania 17 the following year, where he gets speared by Edge off of the ladder while holding on to the tag titles. I remember one time he dropped a swanton through a ladder. I think it was on, I can't remember who that was on. Maybe it was on Christian. I can't remember.
I remember that, man. I hated that bump because it looked like it was when the ladder was on the ring and it was on the barrier.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. That was like the hardest bump I think I ever seen someone take, because I don't know if you guys know, but those ladders are just ladders you go to Home Depot and pick up, or they'll build the biggest ladder you possibly can find. Those are the ones that trip me out. I go, wait a minute. They do not make a ladder that big. What are you talking about here? But those matches do intrigue, especially now with the monitors in there. You're going to feel like the fans are in the arena with you. The way it's set up in Thunderdome, you definitely will, have that moment to where you want to go up and just do something crazy. Not me personally. I've never been one of those guys.
You're not a ladder guy.
Not second run guy, you know what I mean? But these guys, I mean, AJ definitely going to throw caution to the wind. Sami Zayn is, I've never really seen Sami go out and do a lot of crazy bumps, but he did used to do that one dive through the two the turnbuckles there, and man, that used to always scare me, man, because you're that close. It's like jumping. Yeah. Lion jumping through the firing hoop or something like that. It's just something that I'm like, man, your knee's gonna scrape or something, you know what I mean? But
right.
We're gonna get a chance to see exactly what Sami Zayn brings to the table. One thing I do like about Sami, man, is he's a great entertainer. He makes you not like him. And now, like I say, with the beard and the hat and that, he's ready to go to war.
As a bait in about quarantine time, you know what I mean? From March to now.
Exactly. But I do like that trio right there. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how the thing play out.
I mean, it's for the Intercontinental title, and Sammy's been saying, I'm the real Intercontinental champion. Jeff's saying, well, I'm the real Intercontinental champion. AJ has a claim to it, too. So I just love it. It gives me that throwback to WrestleMania 10. Right? Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, the two Intercontinental championships above the ladder. Who's going to get it down? I hope they use two. I hope there are two belts up there, because he had his and Jeff had his.
I don't, me personally, man, I don't look at it that way. All right. Just because I was in WCW at that time. I wasn't thinking about that match and those guys. Okay. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. You know what I mean?
What's the quintessential WCW ladder match?
Man, I don't know. I do know this. I wasn't in it. Shoot. What are you thinking, man? I wanted to stay as far away from the ladder as I possibly could, man. I think the biggest, like street fight I ever had was like with the Nasties, and it was like the hardest bump was taking the mustard spot.
Wasn't that on concrete though? Under it, like what? Didn't you fall on concrete, or was it not? Where
No,
you did
when I did the mustard?
Yeah.
No, I didn't fall on concrete, but the mustard barrel was so big, he almost broke my neck with it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that now. Yeah.
And it broke and it went everywhere. And I'm like, man, do you know how heavy that thing is? I'm like, come on here. But knobs, sags, it just was part of the game.
Did you ever have to do anything? Like, I know you said you weren't like a big spot guy, but did you ever have to do anything to where you had to go to the outside and there wasn't any padding there?
No.
There wasn't a mat? No,
I never did any of those spots.
You're such a hypocrite. I'm gonna, you know why? You're a hypocrite.
Why you say that, man?
Because when we had to move all the production in for Reality of Wrestling the other weekend, when it was raining outside, the mats were soaking wet. So I said, well, they're not going to have the mats on the outside. They can't do anything to the outside. And you're like, the hell they can't.
I knew you was gonna bring that up. I knew it, man. I swear I knew you was gonna bring that up. No, man. It's different with these young guys now, man. They want to jump off something. They don't care if it's any pad there or anything. I just said I never did it. I didn't do it, but I was smart enough not to do it too, man. I remember one time we was working at a show and we didn't have a wrestling ring, and they had a boxing ring. And, the boxing ring is really, really hard. It's like being on concrete in a certain, it has to be because the guys have to have good footing. It can't be any bouncing or anything like that. And I remember Ahmed Johnson was on that show, and he wanted to go out and try the ring out for the boys, test it. And he went out and did like a big power bomb or something. I took one and almost broke his back. Man, I did nothing but rolls. I didn't take a bump that night, man. You don't want to get hurt doing this thing, man. I mean, that's the one thing about the business. I see these young guys, man, they could do anything in the world. And I say, man, if you can, take that and know how to use it, you can really, longevity is what you're thinking about. And if I could get that into their head, opposed to them thinking I'm just crazy, maybe, it'll work out for them because like I said, we see some of the most amazing superstars in the business today. Two of them going to be main centered, and that's Uso versus the man Roman. I'm looking forward to that match more than anything because a lot of people don't know it. The Usos, finishing school was Reality of Wrestling. Those two guys came out, Jimmy and Jay, and I got a chance to put my hands on them for a minute, and after a year or so, maybe less than that, I go, man, you guys ready to go? Y'all got to get out of here because it was just that good. They came up so quick, and now to see one getting a break more than anything, getting a shot at being in that position just for a minute. And that's the part for me that stands out more than anything, because Jay, he could have kind of like, washed out, when you ain't got your brother there, backing you up, when the tag team thing totally breaks down. But now we're getting a chance to see Jay go out and entertain, perform by himself without a net, and he's been doing a hell of a job. So I just want to say, man, congratulations on getting a break, a chance at being in the spotlight with the guy just one time, because that's what wrestling is truly all about. Now it's all about rising to the occasion and going out there and doing something special. And I know when I wrestled my brother, I always thought that was the best time, in the ring for me, because we knew each other, like the back of our hands. I mean, come on, man. I mean, we thought about this for years, and to actually get a chance to go out here and do it together, not even imagining something like this would ever come to fruition, man. Jay is in a position right now to where I know he's at home going, man, I can't believe this. Sunday, I'm finna go out here and do my oos, and it's all family thing. Can you imagine how many Samoans gonna be watching this match?
All of them.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, man. It's gonna be a party, man. It's gonna be a celebration in so many different ways. Even though we've had so many Samoan wrestlers come through the business and they all done so well, this is like a moment. For the family to actually, rejoice and just watch their boys out there do their thing. So I'm looking forward to that match, I think, more than any other match on the card.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see a book, and I want to talk more about it. We got to take a break. So send us to break real quick, Book.
Hey, guys, you're in the Hall of Fame. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We're back. Hope you guys chilling, doing like we doing, man, just having some fun. Right now I'm drinking me one of these nice smoothies of strawberry banana with a little bit of peanut butter in it. That's one of the new things I've been doing on a regular. Trying to you turned your nose up at that right there, man. You need to try it. Try it before you knock it, man. Try it before you knock it. The peanut butter actually adds, the kick to it, especially when you're a protein guy like myself and you're always in the gym, working on the old biceps and the old triceps, so I'm just saying, add a little peanut butter from a protein perspective. That's what that is, protein, especially with the muscle milk protein powder as well, so man, I'm thinking about I'm thinking about my workout here. I'm thinking about my workout.
No, I get you. I'm just not a peanut butter fan. Some of us are peanut butter fans.
Well, sometimes you don't know you like something until you try it.
I've tried peanut butter. I've given it the good.
Have you tried it with a peanut butter strawberry banana smoothie?
Now, I haven't tried that, but I do know at the World Gym Arena there's a smoothie place right next door. And the number one selling item at the smoothie place is the Booker T peanut butter blast, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's
give it another go.
That's where all this comes from, So I'm just saying, it works for me. It works for me right now. I'm a felt 228 pounds of romping, stomping, grave digging destruction. But guys, the clash will be going down Sunday. But on Saturday night, man, like I said, we got boxing, but we definitely cannot miss out talking about what's going to be going down inside the octagon. The octagon, man, is going to be lit this weekend, man. Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa, main event. That right there, man. That right there is going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight for the ages, I think. I think the people are going to really get their money's worth with that fight right there because Israel Adesanya, this guy has he staked the claim as far as the division go. And I say that because of, take nothing away from Costa. All right. I take nothing away from this guy. I mean, he's wrecked shop as far as the guys that he's been in there with. But you look at the last, 4 4 or 5 fights Israel Adesanya has had inside the UFC. All right, just look at those last 4 or 5 fights, and you're gonna go, wow. You know, it's a laundry list of nothing but great fighters. You know, I mean Silva. Who else is on that list? Silva. What's
he beat Kevin Gastelum.
Gastelum. That's who I'm trying to think about.
Here, I'll pull up his fight card right here. We'll go through it together. As far as his wins here in the UFC, Yoel Romero, Robert Whittaker, Kevin Gastelum, Derek Brunson,
hold it right there. Just stop right there. And that's the difference as far as what Paulo Costa has had to go through compared to what Israel Adesanya has had to go through. Now, you put, Costa in there with Whittaker. Okay, he get through this guy. I'm a believer. You put him in there with Gastelum. You just made me a believer because those aren't guys that's on the fence or anything. Those aren't guys that's, long on the tooth like Silva or anything like that. Those are guys, in the Brunson, in the prime of their careers, literally in the prime of their careers, fighting, interim champion, former champion. All right. Mm-hmm. And knock both of them off and almost finish, both in grand fashion. So I say the level of competition that Israel Adesanya has had to go up against, opposed to what Paulo Costa has had to go against, is a vast difference. And I really, and I'm not, and the thing is, it's hard to know who to give the edge to because Costa looks like a bad man.
Looks great.
But sometimes you don't know how bad or how tough a guy really is until you get in there with the truth. And the truth reveals everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. So I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what Costa has in the tank. Now, I've seen Adesanya get hit right on the chin, man, and the brother can take a shot. He's taking. I mean, you can't fight Calvin Gastelum without getting into a fight. Robert Whittaker can't get into the octagon without getting into a fight with that guy. Derek Brunson didn't have a chance to fire it back before it was over. There again, Anderson Silva. I think he had mercy on Silva and said, man, I don't want to break down, a warrior like this who's been in the game for so long and let him walk away like that. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to let somebody else have that job. That's what I said. Yoel Romero, come on. He's a tough guy. I mean, Costa got past him too. But who do you think had that's the one guy? Okay, let's use that one guy. Who do you think had a better performance against Yoel Romero? Costa, Izzy?
Well, I'll be honest. I don't remember loving the Yoel Romero fight, but he looked dominant. And Paulo and Yoel had a little bit more of a scrap. I'm trying to remember. Paulo Costa, I think, won unanimous decision, if I remember correctly. So obviously he had a dominating fight too. That's the one that we can compare them both to. And I think that Izzy looked better against Yoel than Acosta did. And look, you just look at Paulo Costa's last 3 fights. He had Yoel Romero, he had Uriah Hall, and he had Johnny Hendricks. When you stack that up against what we were just talking about with Israel's last 3 fights, it's a pretty stark difference in the level of competition. I mean, all praise to Yoel Romero. Lord knows he's probably 55 and he looks jacked and he's a legend of the game. But when you have to go against the guys like you were talking about that Israel Adesanya has had to go against, it's a crazy list, especially Gastelum, Whittaker, and Romero. All were the last 3.
And Costa, you said what was those? What was those guys again?
It was Hendricks, Uriah Hall, and Yoel Romero. Johnny Hendricks, Uriah Hall, Yoel Romero.
And my thing is this, Johnny Hendricks, that guy's been done. He's been finished a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's had so many problems outside of the octagon because he thought he was a great fighter and then realized what the hell happened. Uriah Hall is a guy who, at one point, people thought Uriah Hall could be the guy. But that point was a long time ago. I mean, no one's talked about Uriah Hall in quite some time. And Yoel Romero is a guy that's over 40 years old. Okay. I think more importantly than anything, Paulo Costa caught Yoel Romero at the right time. Just because if we was to roll that fight back 10 years, 10 years off the clock of Yoel Romero, I see him winning that fight any day of the week against Paulo Costa. Now, of course, you can, debate on that. It's up for debate. But I just feel like the guy that's been the most impressive over his tenure is that kid Israel Adesanya. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and win the fight, but he's definitely going to go out there and scrap. And he's not a guy that's running. He's not a guy that's trying to hide. He's not a guy that's trying to, look for a pathway to just finish the fight, without taking any damage or anything like that. I've seen this guy beat up, bruised, battered, and torn and still move forward. So I'm looking forward to a great fight, as well as, Paulo Costa. He's going to have to do a whole lot, man, to get inside. He's going to have to work on it. He's going to have to rely on his wrestling. He's going to have to rely on his big punch, especially with a 80-inch reach Adesanya compared to like 75, height reach advantage as well. It's going to be a tough uphill battle for Costa, but I'm not counting him out or anything like that. I can't count him out because he definitely looks the part. He definitely looks like, a guy that's don't mind getting into a scrap or anything like that. And that's what I like about Costa. I've seen him beat up, bruised, battered, and torn as well. In the opposition, I think, was much lesser opponents. So I would love to see, it's like Izzy say, man, see what he looked like, if he can switch him and turn him into, what Ricky Martin really looked like. What, man? I
gotta say, Israel was pretty good on the mic. I was just thinking about that. He prepares his stuff, obviously, but he's good. He's literally everything that you want in a UFC fighter. It's the reason why he's on the cover of the video game. He looks great. He fights great. He talks great. That's what you need to be a star in this industry. So it would be a big hit to Israel's stock to lose to Paulo Costa. The only thing that concerns me is Israel said in the press conference for the Fight Island, he said that, he doesn't really see this as a big fight. He doesn't see like this as a big stepping stone in his career. And I just hope that he's not looking past Paulo Costa. Because if you look past somebody, that's when you're going to find yourself in trouble.
No, but I think you got to think that way, man. You got to hype yourself up to feel that way. That this is nothing but another day, another walk in the park. This is nothing that I haven't done, over, and you got to think about Israel Adesanya. You got to understand that he's probably seen guys like Paulo Costa throughout his whole fighting career. This is a guy that just, stepped into the UFC and pretty much taken it by storm. We haven't seen anyone that have come from the world of kickboxing and taken the world by storm, the UFC world by storm, other than probably Holly Holm. Right. So this guy has done something special because this has always been a wrestling oriented game as far as getting the guy, putting him on his back and making him submit if he's coming from another part of the world, stepping into your world. And that's what I see that Israel Adesanya has adapted to become a complete fighter more than anything. And I know we got to take a break, guys. So stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. Back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Hey, that's not going to be the only big fight. Dominic Reyes, man, this is going to be a huge fight for the light heavyweight championship.
Jan.
Yeah, Jan. How do you pronounce his last name, man?
I've heard it said 1,000.
I've heard it. That's my thing too, man. I don't want to mess his name up and then go, because he said it, because I've heard this guy's name pronounced at least 3 to 4 different ways.
Yeah. So we'll call him Jan.
But I tell you, Jan is he's impressed. He's definitely gone out and had some really good outings. Dominic Reyes, there again, he's had some great outings as well. And I know Dominic Reyes right now. I wouldn't say he's coming in with a chip on his shoulder, but
he should be.
Yeah, he should be, because I thought he won the fight. You thought he won the fight against John Jones. I think a lot of the world thought he won that fight. I know he thought he won that fight against John Jones. And the thing is, that could do one or two things to a fighter. It could break him, or it could motivate him to the point to where the next guy is going to have to pay for that loss. And that's where I think Dominic Reyes is. This guy is he showed a whole lot in the fight against John Jones from a stand-up perspective. He showed that he's not a guy that just standing in place. He's not a guy that's easily hit or anything like that. And he don't mind engaging. When you got a guy like that in front of you, he's very dangerous. The fight could really be over with very, very quickly. One thing about Jan is I've seen him labor. I've seen him wait and look to counter. And a lot of times, sometimes you can pull it off that way, but I think in a fight like this, it's going to be who wants it more. And I really feel like Dominic Reyes feel like, man, I need to stake my claim right now, just in case John Jones want to come back and the rematch is there. And you know what that means. It's a whole lot of paper, baby. So I think that would be my motivating factor, if I was Dominic Reyes.
It would be a big motivating factor. And I was like you, when we were there at the Toyota Center to see John Jones. And what was one of the last weekends before the world shut down, we got to see John Jones and Dominic Reyes. And I remember when the judges' decisions were being read, we were confident that John Jones lost the fight and lost the championship. And not just me, not just you, not just Jerry Bowe, everybody around us was like, John lost that fight, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think so too. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't matter what you or I thought. It only matters what those three judges thought, and they thought John won the fight. But if I'm Dominic Reyes, I know that I dominated, even if I did lose, even if I did deserve to lose, I still dominated a lot of rounds against the guy who's regarded as the greatest of all time inside the octagon. That's got to give me an exorbitant amount of confidence going in there against Jan. But here's the thing about Jan. It's a bad man. He knocked out Luke Rockhold. He knocked out Corey Anderson. Those are two of his last three fights. Won his other one by split decision.
Yeah, but Rockhold, man, Rockhold was well past. Rockhold was well past, the Rockhold of old. This was a totally different Luke Rockhold coming in there. I think he had staph infection. Rockhold was trying to pull off the big home run in that fight, and then in the second round, he just ran out of gas. Corey Anderson is a guy there again. Is me personally, I like Corey Anderson, but I never thought that Corey Anderson had the tools to ever be the UFC light heavyweight champion. Is he a good fighter? Yeah. Is he a guy that can go out and beat the majority of the division? Perhaps, but I always thought he fought at a certain level. And now Jan, we're going to actually see exactly what level of fighter he really is. Let's re-roll that, let's look at Jan versus John Jones. How do you see that fight going? I don't know. I don't think I see it going the same way as Dominic Reyes, just because Jan fight at a much slower pace. He's waiting. Dominic Reyes is a guy like fighting. He's like Muhammad Ali. He's on his toes. He's sticking and moving. He's trying to engage in a way to what the referees, they ain't got to say, hey, give me some action.
Yeah.
They don't have to say that with Dominic Reyes. So I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how that fight play out more than anything.
So who are your official picks? I feel like you're leaning toward Dom and Izzy, but who are your official picks?
Well, I tell you, man. Of course, Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. Both of these guys are undefeated. Both of these guys got a whole lot to win for. More importantly, outside the money, bragging rights between these two guys is literally, it's like high stakes. So Costa, I think, he's beaten a lot of guys, but it's one thing when you get to that one guy, and you've been the bully and you've bullied a lot of guys, and that one guy, you look at him and he don't look like he can really beat you up. And then you go and, you try to fight him. You try to, and I've seen this as a kid in school so many times, because I was always the unassuming guy, waiting on somebody to, just punch me in the back of the head, like they would do a lot of kids, I wanted to be the kid getting punched in the back of the head. And that's what I see with Israel Adesanya, man. He's not going to let anybody bully him. This guy wants to be the greatest performer, fighter, showman that the business has ever seen. And guys like that, literally guys like that, come through few and far between, that make us feel a certain way, that when we leave this earth, it's a few guys we're talking about, from the fighting game. Back in the day, it was Liston, Patterson, Ali, Dempsey, what I mean? Marciano. It's always been those fighters that left an indelible impression in your head. And the thing is, those fighters weren't just fighters. They were great, all of them. And Israel Adesanya, his name rings, with those great names that did it so well. So I got to go with praise. Say again.
That's high praise.
Yeah, I mean, that's just game. That's just true as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going with Israel Adesanya in that right there. And Dominic Reyes, man, there again, this guy, he proved to the world that he wasn't a fly-by-night. He wasn't a flash in the pan, a guy that was going to be here today and gone tomorrow. It's a guy that want to go out and, like I say, there again, stake his claim as the light heavyweight, UFC champion. And I believe in him. I believe that this is his moment. I believe that it's a title, it's a shift. And the shift is literally going from a guy like John Bone Jones to a Dominic Reyes, even though it's, done in this way. I really feel like John Jones's time was really close to passing in this division, in this game, period. And if he don't get back real soon, he might have a rude awakening when he does get back. But I'm going to go with Dominic Reyes.
I agree with you about the John Jones aspect. I think that's why he stepped away. I honestly think that John Jones ran away from this fight. I'll be honest with you. I don't think that he wanted Dominic Reyes again. I think that he knew that, that man may have had my number. And I'm not saying that John Jones can't beat Dominic Reyes. I think that he can. But I think that he was like, is it worth going out there and taking an L in a match that may not get me paid as much as taking an L against a Francis Ngannou or Brock Lesnar or whomever, right? That's more money in that. That's more appealing than that. If I'm at the end of my rope, let me go that way. So I think that Dominic Reyes is a bad man. I think that he beat John before. I think really he's the uncrowned light heavyweight champion in the UFC. I'm going to go Dominic Reyes too. And it's hard for me to bet against Izzy. A part of me wants to bet against him just so I can be like, I told y'all that Paulo Costa is a bad man, but I don't believe that. I believe that Israel Adesanya is going to go out there and do what he does. I don't know if he finishes him. I don't think that we're going to see that because Paulo Costa is real tough. I think it goes to decision, but I think that Izzy's going to give him at least 3 rounds to 2, if not more. So those are my picks, but I'm excited. I think that after having a lackluster main event for Colby versus Tyron, I think this one is going to pay off for us. I think that we're going to love seeing Izzy versus Paulo Costa.
Well, I like your picks, of course, but my thing is this here, what you said about John Jones. I don't think John Jones is running from this fight or anything like that. I really feel like John Jones did the smartest thing he possibly could have. And some guys, it's more than just about the championships. Sometimes it's about the checks, so just say, for instance, you drop this title, you walk away in the sunset, unbeatable, pretty much. And then, you have that one big fight to walk away in the sunset, and you say, man, I'm willing to have it. You know, just pay me to come back and have that one big fight, and we'll part ways. And I think a deal like that would be worth it if the opponent is right for John Jones, like a Brock Lesnar, you know, or someone like that. So, man, I don't know, man. I think it was a smart move, business type move, a gangster like type move. I'm talking about, John Gotti like gangster. Capone, you know what I mean? Like gangster, you know, to say, hey man, let me try to figure out how to get this money. Because at the end of the day, man, that's what it's all about, man. Hey man, you know, that's my take on that. But hey man, we gotta get ready to roll. Oh, it's just this is our last segment. I mean, I feel like the show just went like crazy, man. It seemed like it just went like super fast. But we got to get up out of here. But next week we will be back on our regular times. So make sure you guys step inside the Hall of Fame with us on Monday and Wednesday. Doing it like it's supposed to be done, making all them suckers bow down. Again, man, we're gonna end this show by saying again, rest in peace to my homie. A guy that did it so well with the greatest tag team in the history of the business, the Road Warriors. Animal, Hawk, you guys rest in peace, and what a rush. We out of here.